So for more on this, let's bring in CBS News immigration reporter Camilo Montoya-Galvez. He is also joining us from the Supreme Court. So Camilo, how could this all play out today? Why is Chief Justice John Roberts such an important person to watch?
Right. At stake today, Vlad and Anne-Marie, are protections from deportations for nearly 700,000 undocumented immigrants who came to this country as children. The U.S. agreed to accept them from deportation and to grant them work authorizations, which they have used to find jobs and to attend American schools. And we don't know what the Supreme Court will decide or what type of decision they may make. They may side with the administration and allow to end these protections. They may side with those challenging the decision to end the program and prevent the administration from ending the program, or they may also make a decision in which they say the administration can end the program, but that they must provide a new, more thorough justification for doing so.
So the question here is whether or not President Trump can actually end the DACA program by simply saying it's illegal. Why is the administration so focused on ending this program? Is this sort of a political thing, or is there something more?
Right, so this is something that President Trump campaigned on during the 2016 presidential election, right? He said and he vowed to end the 2 executive orders that President Obama issued in 2012 and in 2014 to create DACA and to create an expansion of DACA in 2014. But when he got into office, he quickly found that it became a very problematic issue for him, and he expressed some sympathy for Dreamers, for those in the program. But of course, his administration has taken a very hardline stance on immigration, and to appease his base, he justified the end of the program, and his administration justified the end of the program by saying that what President Obama did was unlawful. And what lawyers for Dreamers will be arguing today at the Supreme Court is that, yes, the administration can end the program, but that it did so in an unlawful way because it doesn't want to take the blame for ending a popular program for people who don't know any other country other than the U.S.
So it's interesting, Camilo, we saw in Carter Evans' reporting, he interviewed both Janet Napolitano, who was the Department of Homeland Security chief under President Obama, and Ilya Shapiro, who's a lawyer and expert on Supreme Court rulings. And they both have opposite they take both opposite sides of the issue. Ilya says that the chief executive cannot just with the stroke of a pen grant these Dreamers the amnesty that he did, and that's why President Trump is seeking to undo it. Napolitano says it is okay to do. So I guess the question becomes, how will the Supreme Court thread that needle, and what could it mean for the future?
Right, so like I said before, we don't know what type of decision the court will make. We don't know if they will actually rule on the legality of the program or if they will rule on the legality of the president's efforts to end the program. If they rule on the legality of the program, that will set a lot of precedent when it comes to immigration law, because as you mentioned, Republicans and some members of the administration believe that the program served as a blanket amnesty for a large group of unauthorized immigrants. But defenders of the policy say the protections were offered on a discretionary basis, right? These people under the program had to meet certain requirements to qualify for the program. They could not have serious criminal records. They had to attend high school, have a GED, or served honorably in the military. They had to come to the U.S. before they were 16. So they would argue that it was not a blanket amnesty.
So you also spoke to some Dreamers, right, Camilo? And you got their take on things, and you asked them if they had an opportunity to talk to the justices, what would they say?
Yeah, they're well aware, all these Dreamers that we spoke to over the weekend, of the steep repercussions that the decision could have on their lives, right? Many of them have U.S.-born children, so they believe an unfavorable decision could separate them from their family members. And they also know that they would be now exposed to deportation if the court allows the administration to end the program, and they won't be allowed to work. They will lose their driver's licenses, their work permits, their social security numbers, things that we might take for granted, Anne-Marie and Vlad, but that are really essential to make a living here in the U.S. and to be successful.
You know, Camilo pointed something out. You know, the president did run on sort of dismantling this. But then, do you remember when he said we're going to take care of everyone?
Right.
He said I have a big heart.
Yeah.
And he said dreamers don't have to worry. I wonder how worried they are.
In fact, he's been tweeting about it today, and he says that if the Supreme Court rules for what the president has attempted to do, he will work with Congress to try and get something done. But it can be, in Carter's piece, you see somebody who came to the United States when he was 15 with his parents. His parents are now legal residents of the United States. But Camilo, what happens if you're a young child and then you turn 21, all of a sudden those protections go away. And that's what happened to him. And he wasn't able to get his legal status in time before he turned 21.
Oh, wow.
So you can imagine how difficult that is for somebody.
Yeah, it is. And what we've seen from the president's tweet is that, he made an inaccurate statement in saying that many of the program's recipients are hardened criminals. As I stated earlier, you would be rendered ineligible for the program if you have a serious criminal conviction, and the agency that runs the program, USCIS, has the discretion to rescind individual protections if someone comes in contact with the criminal justice system. And he also mentioned that he wants to work with Democrats in Congress to pass legislation to place the streamers on a pathway to citizenship, but he has been offered several proposals to do so and has refused to support them because Democrats have refused on their end to fund more money for immigration enforcement and for a border wall.
Mm-hmm. It's an important distinction, Camilo, that if you are a so-called or quote hardened criminal, that you're not even eligible for this program to begin with.
Correct. That's a very important point.
It is indeed. Thank you for making it. Camilo Montoya-Galvez, thank you very much as always.
Thank you both.